Hola gente, bienvenidos una vez más a Curaga Gameplays con Soul Reaver 2. ¡Yay! ¡Woohoo! ¡Woohoo! Así que no perdamos más tiempo, ya estaba esperando jugar este 2. Y donde quedamos en la primera parte.
At last. I must say I'm disappointed in your progress. I imagined you'd be here sooner. Tell me, did it trouble you to murder your brothers?
Did it trouble you when you ordered me into the abyss?
Eternity is relentless, Raziel.
Okay.
When I first stole into this chamber centuries ago, I did not fathom the true power of knowledge. To know the future, Raziel. To see its paths and streams tracing out into the infinite. As a man, I could never contain such forbidden truths. But each of us is so much more than we
Pero para qué
once
tanta
were.
ansiedad
Do you
por
not
saber
feel
el pasado y el
with all
futuro?
your
A mí no me interesa, la
soul how we
verdad.
have become like gods? And as such, are we not indivisible?
Cosas son como
As
son.
long as a single one
Punto y se
of
acabó.
us stands, we are legion. Our futures are predestined. Mobius foretold mine eons ago. We each play out the parts fate has written for us. Free will is an illusion.
Libre albedrío es una
I
ilusión.
found the tomb of Sarafan, Cain. How could you profane a priest by turning him into a vampire?
How could
Bueno, eso
I
no pasó,
not?
pero bueno.
One must keep his friends close, Raziel, and his enemies even closer. Who better to serve me than those whose passion transcends all notions of good and evil?
The Sarafan were saviors, defending Nazgul from the corruption that we represent. My eyes are opened, Cain. I find no nobility in the unlife you rudely forced on my unwilling corpse.
You may have
Sácale,
uncovered
la sangre.
the past, but you know nothing of it. You think the Sarafan were noble, altruistic? Oh, don't be simple. Their agenda was the same as ours.
Oh boy. Bueno, tenemos un mejor final del pasado. Más colorido, mejores gráficos.
You nearly had me, Raziel.
Mejores interpretaciones. Y ahí es donde quedamos.
But this is not where or how it ends. Fate promises more twists before this drama unfolds. Completely.
Run! Don't let it go. Estoy detrás de él como habíamos quedado. ¡Pum! Aparecimos otra vez.
Raziel, Redeemer and Destroyer, Pawn
Mentor y
and
destructor.
Messiah. Welcome, time-span soul. Welcome to your destiny.
¿Cómo era que se llamaba? Me olvidó el nombre. Me voy a olvidar el nombre de este imbécil. Este era Mobius. Así es.
Where am I? Is the usual question. In your case, when might be more apt.
Very well, you old snake. If you'd prefer I use my bare hands.
This is completely unexpected. This orb disables our vampire enemies, leaving them helpless and incapacitated. Strangely, it seems to have the same effect on that peculiar weapon of yours. But you must believe me. I mean you no harm.
You can drop the benevolent facade, Mobius. I know who and what you are. I should kill you where you stand.
Perhaps you should, my boy. But you don't.
Are you so certain of that, Mobius?
My role as Time Guardian affords me a certain level of omniscience, Raziel. No, you don't kill me. That honor belongs to your maker, Cain. Some 30
Mobius
years
sirve a un dios,
You two are a pair.
pero no le voy a decir a qué
Just as
dios.
fatalistic as he is.
death comes for us all.
Pues,
Raziel.
oh my god, la didn't know
It's just a
that.
matter of
Ah.
time.
Yo creo que se uno cuenta como en la
How is it
tercera
that
parte,
you know
creo.
my name?
Creo.
We have never met.
On the contrary, Raziel, I know you very well. And it grieves me to see how cruelly Cain has used you. I knew you when you were one of the Sarafan Brotherhood, Raziel. We were even close.
Oh, please.
Fortunately, you need not love me now to be my ally.
Are we within the stronghold of the Sarafan priesthood?
Yes, but the glorious days of the Sarafan have long since passed,
Vamos en
I'm
el
afraid. This is
fuerte
a
del
more
Sarafán.
cynical and indecorous age. My mercenary army now inhabits this stronghold. We strive to honor the memory of the Sarafan with our own humble crusade.
Is this the vampire Vorador?
El Borador.
Yes, the scourge of the circle, the most depraved and decadent example of his whole degenerate
Borador es
race.
como uno de los primeros
He slaughtered
vampiros.
6 of my fellow guardians as they cowered defenseless in this room.
And you somehow survived this massacre?
I and 2 others. The circle was devastated. Only we 3 were spared.
How convenient. You'll forgive me if I don't naively devour every scrap of information you toss me. You have a reputation for deceit.
And who has slandered me so? Your malefactor, Cain? The one who betrayed and destroyed you? Our common enemy? Consider the source before you judge me too harshly. We'll forget about rekindling our old friendship then. But consider an alliance based on our common ground. We both want Cain dead. I can help you do it.
You don't want to meddle in this, old man. I know all about your sordid little schemes, but you're simply out of your depth on this one.
You underestimate me, Raziel. Let me show you. Even now, Cain is lying in wait for you, unaware that I've snatched you out of the time stream and brought you here to me. See how he lingers at the very pillars he is destined to destroy, foolishly confident that he has eluded your grasp.
The pillars are still standing in this time.
Yes, Raziel. They are the embodiment of the divine force which preserves the life of our world. We who serve
los
the
pilares
pillars
todavía no
maintain
se han
their
destruido,
delicate
están
balance, and Cain is
completicos.
destined to be the fulcrum upon which that balance turns. I believe you have
Ya no se han
already
corrompido
cured the
todavía.
waste
Volvemos
of
atrás,
this
atrás,
terrible,
atrás, atrás.
selfish decision. Cain's very existence is a cancer upon this world. As long as he lives, all of Nosgoth is in
¿Existía el cáncer en ese
You may
tiempo?
never
Oh my
again
gosh.
be human,
Actualizados.
Raziel. But you can
Cain es un
re-embrace the
cáncer en este
essence of
tiempo.
your humanity and the nobility of your Sarafan heritage. Go to him, Raziel, and end this. But first, you will need to find your way out of the stronghold, and in this, I'm afraid I cannot help you. My soldiers will not understand your appearance here. They will try to kill you. You needn't fear them, of course. They're no match for you. Try to keep the casualties to a minimum. But do what you have to do. All great movements require a few martyrs.
Está dispuesto a sacrificar sus propios soldados de los sarafanes para
Alone now, I surveyed my surroundings and
ayudar a
noticed a
Raziel,
second
pero esa
time
ayuda es
streaming
muy
chamber.
inconveniente.
Its entrance identical to the first, but with one distinction. That crystal was significant, but how? I had not yet discovered.
Ajá. Opa, ok, aquí está Bora ya. Matando a varios de los del círculo. Mi pregunta sería, ¿fue Borador que mató a Ariel? ¿Esto qué es? Ah, un arma. No, por lo menos tengo la vida que me... ¿Se acuerdan que...? ¡Ah, ratas! Tómala. Dame ese machete. Va. Tómala. Bueno, es un poco más fácil la jugabilidad, ¿no? Eso es lo que yo me refería, que es... O sea, mejora bastante la jugabilidad. Puñal, abre como si fueran a semejante poder acá. Desgraciado. Tómala. Toma. Cabeza cortada. A ver qué hay aquí. Pasito a pasito. You're not mad for me, woman. ¿Me gustó? ¿Puedo hacer eso? Ah, no puedo hacer. Voy a hacer. A ver más adelante. ¿Por aquí viene? ¿O por aquí? Ah, ok.
Throughout the stronghold, I discovered evidence of my former nobility and my life as a Sarafan priest. This was the heritage so foully stolen from me when Cain raided my sacred crypt and defiled me.
Oh my God. No paró, no paró, no. Daba. Ey, está escondido como atrás de la pared no hace mucho. Oh. Me gusta. Ope. Creo que ir por donde vine porque creo... Viene por un lado que no... Por aquí era, ¿verdad? Pareció ver una puerta que no fui. Como al lado derecho. Que por aquí. Ah, bueno, está cerrada. No, perdón. No la había visto, no había notado que está cerrada. Bueno, podemos proseguir. Interesante. Como que más o menos recuerdo muy poquito, pero voy recordando más o menos por dónde y cuándo. cerrado. Y no puedo pasar por aquí hasta que... Sí. No. Y... vamos a hacer que tragamos algo. La puerta está cerrada. Me imagino que vamos a pasar, así que tenemos dedos, gente. ¿Qué pasa?
Away from the influence of Mobius's cursed staff, I could feel the strength of the Soul Reaver slowly returning. If that orb was as debilitating to vampires as it was to the blade, it gave Mobius a powerful advantage over his enemies. I finally understood how Mobius's crusade could decimate the vampires so successfully. If he could immobilize his enemies, they were at his mercy. But why, I wondered, would the staff have any effect on the Reaver?
Ahora sí. Look at that. Gracias. Ey, lo malo es que... tómala. Toma, patada voladora. Me gusta que tiene más. Tómala. Dame tu alma. Ahora sí, tú y yo, querida. Pero espérate, primero por favor hágame el alma. Esto. No respira. Lo bueno es que por lo menos sí la mata con las garras. Antes no se podía, ¿no?
As I neared the stronghold's inner sanctum, a strange sensation crept over me. An indescribable feeling of displacement, a sense of vertigo, as reality itself appeared to warp and bend around
Siento que
me.
yo he estado aquí antes.
The disturbance seemed to emanate from the sanctuary's furthest chapel. As I cautiously approached, the sense of dislocation intensified with each step. So this was the tomb of the beloved King William the Just, beatified here as the martyr and catalyst of Mobius's crusade.
Nosotros peleamos con William the Just. William el Justo fue en Legacy of Kain, el primer juego. Blood Omen. ¿Okay? Este es el primer juego de toda la serie de Soul Reaver, de Legacy of Kain. El primero es, el primero es Blood Omen, segundo Blood Omen 2, después seguiría con Soul Reaver, Reaver 2 y ya el último de Defiance.
I had not thought such a thing was possible. Until, of course, Cain shattered the blade against me when he tried to strike me down. Thus, the captive spirit inhabiting the Reaver was released, and binding itself to me, became my symbiotic weapon. And so the Reaver met its former self, still imprisoned in this corporeal shell. I watched, mesmerized, as the Wraith blade uncoiled itself and snaked down the length of the physical blade. Embracing its twin, its mirror self, the Reaver's long dormant spirit was now fully aroused. And for the first time, I felt the true presence of this other entity, willful, ravenous, and deranged from thousands of years of imprisonment. The Reaver was now in command, and I, now merely its helpless host, felt my soul being reached to restore the blade.
Okay.
But the Reaver knew better to destroy its host, and just as I neared the brink of oblivion, the blade released its hold. As I recovered,
Ajá, ¿qué estás haciendo ahí?
now bound together in a fragile alliance. The Reaver no longer merely my symbiotic weapon, but a sentient parasite competing for control.
Es bueno esto.
What have you done to me, Mobius?
Ah, no sabía.
Your trap?
How mine? Don't forget it was Cain who led you here, not I. While you curse me, the only soul in Nosgoth ready to guide and assist you, Cain laughs at our folly and revels in your dismay.
These blades, now coiled in sinister embrace, have inspired terror in the hearts of creatures far more durable than you, old man. Bound together as they are, I can only imagine
a la
what
cabeza.
they do to your soul's
Viejo,
fragile
¡puc!
shell.
Has hecho ¡puc!
Raziel, I beg you to stay your hand. This was none of my doing. I have sought only to aid you in your righteous quest.
Why, you're trembling, Mobius. Has your confidence abandoned you? You seem to have made a fatal error by leaving your precious staff behind. Is that where all your courage comes from?
Listen to me, Raziel. You don't know what you're doing. I have taken an enormous risk by appearing here before you, so defenseless, yet eager to prove my good intentions. If there's anything left of the Seraphim in you, you won't do this. While you threaten me, your true enemy eludes you.
Don't concern yourself with Cain, man. He'll join you in hell soon enough. As you said, death comes for us all.
Yes, the wheel of fate demands it.
What did you say?
The wheel of fate. The inexorable cycle of death and rebirth to which all men are compelled. We serve the same God, Raziel.
Ah, ya lo dijo.
To
Servimos al
strike me
mismo
down
Dios.
would be striking God's own attendant. And I don't believe even you would take that risk.
I tire of your games, Mobius. Now that I know you fear me, I needn't concern myself with you. Cain is waiting for me.
Go then, Raziel. Seek Cain out and destroy him in the name of the one God we both serve. You, who were once a Seraphim priest, murdered, profaned, destroyed, and reborn again from his mercy.
Mata Cain,
You
mátalo.
are now most powerful
Mátalo.
to be his agent, his instrument of restoration and retribution.
My own vengeance is motivation enough.
By my soul, you almost had me, my little blue assassin. But that'll be the one and only chance you get. I assure you of that.
Todo lo
I
tengo
could now summon the
planeado.
blade at will, regardless of my strength. But once summoned, the blade's ravenous appetite could not be contained. It devoured the souls of its victims, and if I allowed it to become over-aroused, the Reaver would now turn its hunger on me.
Genial. Nos absorbió la vida.
So this was the legendary Janos Ordrin,
Janos
reputed to have been the
Ordrin.
most ancient and diabolical vampire to have ever existed.
Janos Aldrin es
According
el
to
más
folklore,
antiguo
he lived high in the cliffs of
anciano de los
Nosgoth's
ancianos
northern
de los
mountains
ancianos de los
and preyed
ancianos de los
mercilessly
vampiros.
on the defenseless villages below.
Podría
His
decirse
reign of
del
terror ended when the Sarafan finally
unos
hunted him
primeros
down
y
and
primeritos
tore his
primeritos.
throbbing heart from his still living body. This relic came to be known as the Heart of Darkness, and was supposedly imbued with the power to restore vampiric unlife. The Sarafan therefore guarded it
El
carefully,
corazón de la
lest the
oscuridad y
heart
todo
fall
eso,
into
eso
the
se ve
hands of their enemies.
en el Blood Omen el
But I
primero.
wondered, could Janos
Para los que
Ordrin
quieran saber
truly
el
have been as monstrous as
inicio
depicted here? Or
de
was this
Cain,
merely
cómo
artistic
renació,
license by
qué
the
pasó,
Sarafan,
qué sucedió,
who
está
sought to
en Blood Omen
lionize
1.
themselves by demonizing
Legacy of
their
Cain.
darkest enemy?
Ahí explican todo, explican The Heart of Darkness, explican la Reaver, explican qué pasó con los pilares, todo se explica ahí en el primero. Así que lo tengan en cuenta, hombre. Y desde aquí me largo porque por sí. Ay, me bajaron la vida ya. Estamos igual que el inicio, en el Reaver 1. Over there. Lo puedo usar, pero es mejor quitarla porque absorbe la vida. Un pequeño precio a pagar. Y no solo eso, se absorbe las almas. No podemos comer almas. El Reaver la absorbe de una vez cuando la mata.
Strange how my history came full circle.
Aquí tenemos ya las primeras figuras humanas de lo que eran los hermanos de Raziel.
All of us martyred here, and then so cruelly profaned by Cain when he imposed his gift on our noble corpses.
Todos eran sarafanes, sacerdotes sarafanes que cazaban vampiros y mataban vampiros.
Memorialized here among my fallen comrades. It tortured me to see how noble and pure I had been, and what a vile phantasm I had become. And a profound sense of injury, of loss and betrayal welled up in me, so overwhelming I could barely contain it. All I wanted at this moment was to find Cain and destroy him.
Venganza, venganza, venganza. Hey guys, how you doing? Ay Dios, es que... ¿sabes qué es el problema? Que se me desconecta, se va de un... Tengo que tener cuidado porque se me va de un objetivo a otro. No me sirve. Tengo que tener cuidado. Me combinan los objetivos, no me sirve, chi. Ok, este es... A ver, ahora sí está. Este es Malkaya. Mi hermano... Mi lejano hermano Malkaya. Ese es... Espérate. Rahab. Ok, ese era el bicho que se había transformado en el agua, ¿se acuerdan? ¿Te acordáis? Turel. Sí, me imaginé que era Turel, uno de los últimos hermanos, que era uno de los más fuertes. Zephon, que se transformaba en una mantis. Un pelo rojo, no más. Falta, ¿verdad? Tuma. Bueno, vámonos. ¿Dónde era que era? ¿Cómo era? Tengo que subir es por aquí, ¿verdad? Vamos. Ah, man. Yo creo que había algo por aquí que a uno le daba. Siento que se me vienen memorias a la cabeza. Yo lo jugué en un tiempo, pero... hay algo por aquí. Quiero encontrar un lugar para grabar, pero no hay nada. Bueno, vamos. La puerta, ¿verdad? Tal vez estoy equivocada porque no. No me han dicho cómo se graba aquí. Mientras no se me peringuile por ahí, como la vez pasada. Me quedo pegadibles.
I emerged, and for the first time beheld Nosgoth in its former glory. The land overflowed with abundant life and vitality.
Nosgoth en su pura
certainty
esencia.
then that the world I had left behind was nothing more than the corpse of Nosgoth, a lifeless husk bled dry by the corruption of Cain's parasitic empire. This was the fragile world Cain sacrificed to preserve his own petty life and ambition, heedless of the profound cost. The sight only deepened my resolve. I sensed that the pillars
Todavía no sé, no me acuerdo por qué Cain fue que realizó el sacrificio. No me acuerdo. No me acuerdo por qué había renunciado al sacrificio, pero vamos a ver. Aquí hay dos puertas, vamos a ir, vamos a ver. Creo que podemos ir allá. Voy a tocar el agua, ¿verdad? Vamos. Ay, ay, ay. Pero, ¿y qué? ¿Cómo salgo de aquí? Bien.
I did not yet possess the means to
no
unlock
puedo
this
todavía.
barrier, but this enigmatic symbol was clearly the key.
Bueno, todavía no. Vamos a ver por aquí. Ok, aquí es como... ¿Dónde tengo que ir? Ya. Ah, come on. You can do this.
As I passed this arcane landmark, a wisp of the Reaver's energy was drawn into the ring, illuminating it. This created a beacon of sorts in the spirit world. If ever I found myself depleted in the spectral realm and my soul tossed on the ethereal winds, these beacons would draw me back to safety and restore me.
Ah, ok. Entonces estos son los checkpoints, ok. Lo llegan a matar o algo así. Ok, abrimos una puerta. Ah. ¡Pecado, lo pecado! Los pecadillos. Bueno, aquí no podemos hacer nada todavía. Ahí está el de la luz. Pero como pueden ver, no podemos. Era por aquí. No, ahí no. Aquí da. Alert. ¿Qué hay más? Pecados. Por lo menos vemos pescados por primera vez. Ah, es ahí, ¿verdad? Porque aquí no hay nada. ¿Qué hay aquí? Eso vamos a ver qué hay aquí. Necesitamos averiguar todo. Bien, ¿qué hay aquí? Ok. ¿Cómo era que se brincaba? Ah, bueno. Es el mismo con el agua, pero... Allá. ¿Y aquí qué? ¡No, no! La cámara es un poquito más... pues amigable, podríamos decir. Vine aquí para eso. Ah, come on, you gotta freaking kidding me, right? Bueno, ¿qué es esto? Ni me acuerdo ya. Ya me largo. Cosa la grave, todos. Vamos, Ariel. Raciel. Ariel.
These ancient obelisks were mysteriously attuned to my spiritual essence. By simply touching the symbol, I could safely preserve an imprint of my soul, and thus create a milestone to which I could return when weary, and from which I could resume my journey.
Recuerdo que estos altares sirve para salvar. Estos altares se ven en el Blue Domain 1, en la historia de Kane. Como les digo, esto no es nada nuevo. O sea, para los que realmente han jugado la historia entera, como yo lo hice desde el primer juego, que es Blood Omen Legacy of Kane. Ese es el primero. Pues va a ver que todas estas referencias son muy conocidas.
While I had only just escaped the stronghold, I sensed that in time my journey would return me full circle to this place.
Oh my gosh.
Infiltrating the fortress, however, would be no small feat. The balcony that had provided my escape was now well beyond my reach, leaving this massive gateway as the only means of entry. The gates were sealed, But like the time-streaming chamber I had seen earlier, their operation was undoubtedly linked to that odd crystal mounted above the entrance.
Forma tienen esas puertas. No diré nada. No diré nada. Representa la masculinidad de la era. Y yo. Sí. Ay, Dios mío. Hay un cazador. Lo ven. Me está esperando, chico. Venga, linda. Mejor paleo así porque es más fácil. Desgracia. ¿Cómo que die? ¿Cómo que die? You don't know me. Esto, por si no sabían, estos empalados que están aquí, estos pobres infelices son vampiros. Toma, toma, toma. Toma, toma, toma. Espera que me alce la vida y vas a ver, desgracia. Bastardo. Oh boy. Vale, que estos son. Va, parece. Toma. Guárdate tus balas en tu trasero. Oh boy. 1 a 1, por favor, gente. 1 a 1. Bueno, es que los monstruos, la inteligencia artificial de estos monstruos, bueno, los enemigos no es tan, como dijera, tan desgraciada como el 1. Que no lo dejaban absorber ni el alma. Se le tiraban encima así como ¡ay! ¡Está comiendo! ¡Epa! ¡Epa! ¡No! ¡Epa! ¡Ay! 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 ¡Y mi yo sol! ¡Oh boy! ¡Epa! ¡Detrás de ti, imbécil! Ok, ahí vamos bien, vamos bien. Ya nos llenamos el alma. No voy a usar la Reaver. Prefiero usar armas, la verdad. ¡Opa! ¡Mis pájaros! ¡Se fueron los pájaros! ¡Empástate los pájaros! ¿Qué hiciste? Feed souls, darn it. Mira como hay vampiros colgados. Pero esos pájaros son una señal. ¿Ok? No están ahí de casualidad. ¡Ah! ¡Guato asqueroso! ¡Ay! Muérete con tu perro. Hasta perros cazadores tenían. Semejante guato mío. Miren cómo están empalando a los vampiros. Venga, venga. Dame, boy. Gosh. Really? Déjame espiar. ¿Qué es eso? Ah, un guato. ¡Ah, el guato, el guato! Muy delgado para ser un perro, sí, bárbaro. Los voy a cruzar con la mesa. Ay, me caí. Con la protectora de animales. Pero van a ver. capítulo de Sansón. Qué excelente capítulo de Sansón del Chapulín Colorado, men. Qué bueno, Chespirito. Pero vale. Hijo de tu Pink Floyd. No me largo. Está muy en la orilla. Eso. Amigo, papá. Auntie Daddy. Aquí. ¿La cueva? No. Nunca sabe qué puede hacer. Yep. Ah, hijo de tu Pink Floyd. ¿Qué harán esas armas? Casi no, ¿verdad? Me gustaría tener como el disco original para traerlo el arte. A mí me encanta este juego. Tener el arte.
They seem to retain much of their former humanity.
Art design.
In this era, vampires were clearly not the uncontested predators we had been. These creatures were hunted mercilessly and oppressed. And while I still believed that vampirism was a plague and had to be wiped out, there was nothing noble or righteous in this crusade. This was simply ruthless persecution.
Ay, pero papito, una cosa en la otra. Si no fueran los humanos, son los vampiros. Y si son los vampiros, son los humanos. Y así sigue. O sea, las hagan a los vampiros, pero de igual manera los vampiros cazan humanos. Te tienen que alimentar de alguna forma. O sea, ni uno ni lo otro. Yo sería neutral. Sería como... Yo pensaría como Geralt. Como Geralt de Reaver. No hay ni mal menor ni mal mayor. Simplemente me quedo en el medio. Entonces acabo. Para mí es así también. ¿Qué dijo? Oye, Sarmi, un momento. Pero watch your mouth. Ah, las palanquillas de... Ah. Keep going. La fuerza.
The pillars of Nosgoth, pristine, whole, and uncorrupted. I had never beheld them in this undefiled state, yet something profound and indelible resonated within me at the sight. And there, waiting at the very heart of the pillars, was the canker that was destined to destroy them.
Así. Te voy a matar.
I know you're there, Raziel.
Mobius led me to you, Cain, though I might have guessed you'd meet me here.
And if Mobius told you I was hidden on the underside of hell, would you throw yourself into oblivion to pursue me? Mobius trawls for the ignorant and unwary, hauling his gasping prey from the streams of their destinies. Stay out of his net, Raziel.
Spare me your elaborate metaphors, Cain. I have pursued you here for one purpose. You will pay for your betrayal, and balance will thus be restored to
Sigue con la
Nosgoth.
venganza.
And whose will is
Raziel.
satisfied then? The will
¿Qué
of
aprendimos de la
Raziel or
venganza?
Mobius?
La venganza
Would I be
nunca es
better
buena, mata al
manipulated
alma y
by
la
you,
envenena.
Cain? Now,
No has aprendido
turn
nada.
and face me. The chase is over.
This isn't a chase, Raziel. We are merely passengers on the wheel of destiny, describing a perfect circle to this point. We've been brought here for a reason. I've seen the beginning and the end of our story, however, and the tale is crude and ill-conceived. We must rewrite the ending of it. You and I.
Face me, Cain. Even you shouldn't die a coward's death.
Isn't it customary to grant the condemned a final request?
I recall no such courtesy from you.
Indulge me, Raziel. All I ask is that you listen. This is the sublime moment of our undoing, Raziel. The ineffable fulcrum upon which swings the entirety of our history. This is where all of Nosgoth is betrayed. In this instant, Ariel, the Balance Guardian, is murdered by dark forces bent on overthrowing the Pillars. Her spirit is just now tearing free, lost in the ether, trying to find its way here. You have already seen how she comes to haunt these Pillars.
Bound here by your refusal to die. You are the reason this land becomes diseased. As long as you remain alive, you condemn Nosgoth to an eternity of decay.
Be still, Raziel. See this. As Ariel dies, I am being born to take her place as Balance Guardian. Such is my destiny.
My God.
Ok, ya entendí.
The moment of my
Ariel
first
era la guardiana
cry,
de
Ariel's
los pilares.
beloved,
La
the
mataron, fue
guardian
asesinada
knocked
y
her to
Cain
find
fue
her
creado
corpse.
para tomar su lugar,
Racked
pero
with
no lo
grief
tomó.
and tormented by suspicions
Se
of
rehusó al
treachery,
sacrificio.
Raptor plunges into a madness which overflows and infects all of the Guardians who are symbiotically bound, including me. The repercussions of Ariel's assassination were expertly calculated. The entire circle descends into madness, and I am tainted at the moment of my birth, instantly rendered incapable of fulfilling the role destiny has prepared for me.
Shall I show you the same mercy you showed the rest of the circle then? You blithely murdered them to restore their pillars, yet your hand faltered when it came to the final sacrifice. What makes you exempt, Cain? You're merely the last man standing. Why condemn me for simply carrying out what you hadn't the courage to do yourself?
Let's drop the moral posturing, shall we? We both know there's no altruism in this pursuit. Your reckless indignation led you here. I counted on it. There's no shame in it, Raziel. Revenge is motivation enough. At least it's honest. Hate me, but do it honestly. 30 years hence,
Pero
I
odiame
am
honestamente.
presented with a dilemma. Let's call it a two-sided coin. If the coin falls one way, I sacrifice myself and thus restore the pillars. But as the last surviving vampire in Nosgoth, this would mean the annihilation of our species. Mobius made sure of that. If the coin lands on the reverse, I refuse the sacrifice and thus doom the pillars to an eternity of collapse. Either way, the game is rigged.
We agree then that the pillars are crucial and must be restored.
Yes, Raziel. And that's why we've come full circle to this place.
So after all this, you make my case for me. To end this stalemate, you must die so that new guardians can be born.
Pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
Your arrogance is boundless, Cain.
There's a third option. A monumental secret hidden in your very presence here. But it's a secret you have to discover for yourself. Unearth your destiny, Raziel. It's all laid out for you here.
You said it yourself, Cain. There are only two sides to your coin.
Apparently so. But suppose you throw a coin enough times. Suppose one day it lands on its edge.
Ok. Lo poco que explicó aquí fue que habían dos opciones. Sacrificarse por los pilares, morir y dejar en manos de los Sarafanes el último vampiro que existía y lo hubieran eliminado, ya no hubieran existido más. Que realmente no suena tan mal para mí. Segundo, sería...
I didn't know what impulse stayed my hand, Why I had so willingly allowed Cain to escape me when I had pursued him for so long. I had no reason to trust Cain after he had valued me so little, and yet I found myself intrigued by his words. I had been too cruelly used to so gullibly play his pawn.
Segundo, del otro lado de la moneda,
truly had secrets to divulge.
lo que hizo Cain.
I was determined to expose them.
Rehusarse al ¿puedo subir? Rehusarse al sacrificio y tomar los pirales para ellos. Pero dice Cain, pongamos que tiramos la moneda muchas veces y esta cae en el medio. Entonces es donde dice es donde dice la. Según cuenta Cain, hay una tercera opción, pero me dice que la tengo que averiguar por mí mismo. Bueno, yo ya lo sé, pero vamos a averiguarlos todos juntos. Okay. Hola. Vayan deambulan ustedes por aquí. Bueno. Tengo tiempo para ustedes. Hemos llegado.
From the moment of my arrival,
Los pájaros que
I
le
had the
dije.
constant and palpable sensation of being watched. Someone, it seemed, was keenly interested in my presence here.
Oye. Ah. Algo de graciaos. Que pues mira por lugares, no. Creo que sé para dónde vamos, creo, pero.
From the look of it, this door had been sealed for centuries. I began to realize it was no mere coincidence that I found myself standing here, beneath this winged figure with blue skin and cloven hands so like my own, and bearing this unique key.
Sí.
And so it was with a sense of gravity and trepidation that I unsealed that ancient door and crossed the threshold.
De todo como si fuera, no sé, algo más. Está bien. ¿Dónde puedo aquí? Y otra. ¡Espérense! ¿Dónde voy? Yo creo que es este. Que vamos a tener que guardar la espada porque ya nos está quitando la vida, hombre. Opa. ¿Dónde es esto?
As I entered the chamber, I sensed that it had been sealed for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. And while this room was clearly built when the pillars were erected, I knew that no human hand could have shaped this place, and that perhaps it had never been seen by human eyes. The surrounding murals depicted a winged race, their features so like my own, but beautiful, where mine were grotesque, and angelic, while mine were demonic. I tried to decipher these images. A great war, but with combatants like none I had ever seen. The pillars, raised by this winged race, who thus defeated their adversaries. The winged beings again, writhing in agony, apparently afflicted with the same bloodthirst I had so recently suffered. And throughout the chamber, inscribed everywhere, images of the Reaver itself. Was this what Cain had urged me to discover?
Que cayeron y se convirtieron en vampiros.
Lies, Raziel.
Miras, Raziel. Oh.
Do not be deceived.
Engañado.
Ah, my ancient benefactor. And I dared to hope we had parted ways forever. Silence was refreshing, but it lasted. No doubt you have a conveniently inexpressible reason for your presence here.
Do not be insolent, Raziel.
No seas insólito,
I am
Raziel.
eternally present here and everywhere, now and always. I am the still center of the turning wheel, the hub of this world's destiny.
But perhaps not so omnipotent as you'd have me believe. Your hold on me appears to be tenuous. I no longer seem to need you. Yet I'm guessing you still need me.
This impudence is unworthy of you, Raziel. Do not forget that you have a task to fulfill here. You are indebted to me.
Indebted? You would have me show gratitude for a gift I didn't ask to be bestowed. Do you forget that you forced me to inhabit this vile carcass?
I restored you to yourself, Raziel. It was Cain who destroyed you. The very enemy you've just let slip through your grasp. Do not fail me, my servant.
I serve no one. Not you, not Cain, and not your lackey Mobius.
Mobius is my good servant. I have many.
And if I tell Mobius that he's worshipping a giant squid, do you think his faith will falter?
You have grown willful, Raziel. But beware. To embrace a serpent is to invite poison into your heart. Cain is a sinuous beast. He will seduce and deceive you. You pride yourself on your free will, yet you let that degenerate deter your resolve.
I harbor no illusions about his integrity, nor anyone else's. In fact, I am beset by manipulation on all sides. I merely seek the truth.
These are the fathomless truths, Raziel. The agony of birth and death and rebirth. This is the wheel of fate, the purifying cycle which sustains all life. Vampires are an abomination, a plague which leeches this land of its spiritual strength. They obstruct the flow of life and death. Their souls stagnate in their wretched corpses. But the wheel must turn. Death is inexorable and cannot be denied. Your destiny is irresistible, Raziel. You are my soul reaver, the scourge of the vampires, reaper of their apostate souls. Remain steadfast, end the vampire's parasitic curse, and restore Nosgoth.
O sea, lo están utilizando para terminar
On your hands.
el virus del
Cain
de los vampiros.
indeed deserves to die for condemning me to this repugnant form. But if and when I kill him, it will be for me alone to decide.
Cain destroyed you without a flicker of remorse. He tore the soul from your noble corpse, and after you had served him faithfully for 1,000 years, he discarded you in the abyss on a jealous whim. Remember your rage, Raziel. Let it guide your hand.
No es cierto. Hasta me da lástima este pobre. Todo el mundo lo quiere manipular, ¿no? Que es aquí, no, que vamos ya, que aquí, no, que no, que aquí la cae. Ya va a empezar. Pero bueno. Bueno, gente, vamos a dejarlo acá. Espero que lo hayan disfrutado tanto como yo. No olviden dar like, suscribirse, dejar comentarios y nos vemos al siguiente capítulo, que se pone bien emocionante. Lástima que no lo tengo en español. No lo conseguí. O sea, no lo conseguí, pero ahí haciendo la luchita ahí, ¿verdad? Así que nos vemos al siguiente capítulo.